This is a true story about why I would never recommend Reiki healing to anyone, nor would I ever get it done. My story starts 10 years ago, and before I divulge exactly how Reiki works and why it works, we just need to touch on my story very briefly. You see, 10 years ago, I had a massive spiritual awakening where the spiritual gifts I had been suppressing most of my life finally bubbled to the surface. One such gift was the ability to touch someone and know things about that person, or touch something belonging to that person. Even if someone sent me a picture of someone, I could tell you all about that person. So anyway, I sought out a Reiki master who was recommended to me by a very close friend. And this master had a direct line of ascension to the originator and founder of Reiki, Dr. Mikao Usui. And the Reiki master began my attunement by opening layers in my aura. She said she needed to do this so that she could get deep enough to attune me to Reiki. But what she actually did was open the protective layers of my auric field in order to get as deep into my spirit as she possibly could. Once there, she began drawing symbols in my soul. Now, she did this behind my back, but I could feel and sense this thanks to my innate spiritual awareness. And as soon as she did this, I saw the founder of Reiki climbing up a mountain, and up on this mountain, he spent many days alone in solitude, upon which a demon visited him. And this demon made a contract with him that it said it would allow him to use its powers to heal, and that he would also be able to contract others into this system called Reiki. Now, at the time, I was absolutely stunned, and I brought this up to the attention of the master, and she said, yes, the founder did go up a mountain, but he meditated and prayed for 3 weeks and came up with this system himself, and that he had been a healer. And she sort of touched on the background, but I knew something wasn't right. I didn't feel right, as I'd already felt part of my own life force had siphoned off to this entity. And upon going home that day, she said to me that, you might experience some discomfort, or you might even become unwell, and that's perfectly normal. That just means that your body's adjusting to the Reiki. But on the drive home, I felt that my spiritual gifts had been diminished greatly. Part 2 of why I would never get Reiki done. By the time I got home, I knew for certain that it wasn't right, that the attunement wasn't something that I wanted to be a part of, and I could feel the presence of this entity drawing closer and closer to me. I knew that I needed to get these symbols off of my spirit. I frantically researched everywhere I could on the internet to find some kind of evidence of the experience that I'd had, to find some kind of validation. And what I'd found was that indeed the Dr. Mikao Usui, the founder of Reiki, had gone up a mountain and had spent some time there, and he'd come back with this Reiki technique, but not exactly what happened while he was atop the mountain. So then I started researching the mountain some more, because the presence of this entity felt very dark and very sinister. And I just needed to get to the bottom of the truth. So anyway, I did research on the mountain that he had climbed, which is Mount Kuruma in Japan. Now, this mountain, according to local myth and legend, is the mountain that holds the most powerful demons in all of Japan. And these demons have powers of healing and shape-shifting, and can appear in human form. Apparently they can appear in the dreams of anyone, or even give someone a vision while they're awake. So I knew immediately at that point that the good doctor, whose purpose was pure, had been somehow tricked into signing this contract with the demons. Sometimes they're called Tengu in Japan. So I then started looking for other people who had had similar experiences. I knew that surely I couldn't be the only one. I mean, lots of people have had spiritual awakenings, and even doing this video has been such a challenge. Lots of things have tried to get in the way of me making this video. Every time I've tried, you wouldn't even believe it. It's like there's a force trying to stop me from revealing this truth. And whenever things like that happen, it means the truth must come out by all means. Anyway, I managed to track down a lady who had had an exact similar experience. Her husband had multiple health issues, and she had the ability to see spirits. And so she took her husband to a Reiki master. They'd never done anything like that before. And while he was getting healed, she actually saw demonic entities enter the room through the Reiki master as a channel and a conduit. Anyway, I've got to do a part three of why I wouldn't recommend Reiki. So the lady in question I spoke of in part 2 had seen these entities enter the room and begin working on her husband energetically. And as soon as they realized that she could see them, some of them rushed over to her and started to block her vision so she couldn't see what was going on. Of course, she swiveled around them in order to try and get a glimpse because she had a very sinister feeling from them. She said that they felt very demonic in nature and she didn't trust them at all. And what she saw was that they were siphoning off little bits of her husband's energy. They were absorbing into themselves while at the same time trying to perform healing for his various ailments. Now, what she said was that her husband also had a very heightened spiritual awareness. He couldn't see spirits like she could, but he was very intuitive. And she said after that experience, both her and her husband decided never to touch Reiki again. Now, my own intuition and experience with Reiki tells me that it does indeed work, but there is an exchange of energy. And this energy from the person being healed is transferred through the Reiki practitioner, through the network, because all Reiki masters who've had these symbols drawn on them are connected. Even if you've just had level 1 Reiki, they are all connected. And this connection, much like a network of computers that connects the internet, connects to a main server. The main server being the main demon who absorbs all of this energy in exchange for performing these healings. This is why I would not recommend Reiki, despite the fact that it does work. Same way I wouldn't recommend smoking, because they say that if you smoke a cigarette, each cigarette you smoke takes off some of your lifespan. Now, is the trade-off worth it? That's up to you to decide, but I had to share this message with you. Fourth and final part of why I don't recommend Reiki healing. It was very difficult to share this information with you all. I've known about it for many years because, as I said, it happened over 10 years ago now. And it was quite strange because as I was trying to record this, many strange things were happening. It was like my mind kept getting muddled up. I kept forgetting my words. I felt as if something was trying to choke me to stop me from getting the words out, to stop me from speaking the truth. Almost like something was trying to silence me to make sure that this truth didn't reach you. And that was very strange. I've never experienced something like that. It's possible that, these entities, or this particular entity, when I became aware of it, it became aware of me. There's a saying that if you look into the abyss looks into you. And I feel like that's something that may have happened here. But I just wanted to say one last thing on this is that, I'm not trying to pull Reiki down at all. It does work. I know many people who've had positive experiences with Reiki and nothing like I've had. And also I know many Reiki masters who are doing their best. They're really trying to help people and they're really genuine in what they're offering. However, I do feel like now is the right time to share this information, and I do feel that people need to know what they're getting into. It's just like smoking cigarettes. You need to know that there isn't just tobacco in a cigarette. There's 22 other ingredients, and those are the main ingredients that cause the health issues. And if you started a habit like smoking, you would want to know what are the side effects. If you took it, you wouldn't take a tablet from the doctor without reading the pamphlet that comes with it to say what might go wrong, would you? Well, maybe you would, I don't know. But in any case, what I want you guys to do is not take my word for it. I don't want you to believe anything I've said, not because I'm not speaking the truth, but because I want you to have your own experience. If Reiki is something that you're doing or you're interested in doing, follow your own intuition. But I had to share this truth with you. I had to share my experience and my story. Anyway, enough said. It's been quite a long few videos. It's taken me an hour and a half with all the strange things that were happening. So I shall bid you farewell for now. Take care of yourselves.